Hi, it's Cam
And Emily.
with the Vibe of the 315 podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing the Bryant versus Syracuse basketball game, which happened on November 26th, 2022. Bryant ended up beating Syracuse by a score of 73-72. There was a lot that happened during this game, and overall a very eventful game, and the loudest I've heard the Dome in a while.
Yeah, we actually were at the game and some crazy stuff went down. I feel like first we have to address the fight that broke out in the first half.
Yeah, there was a little scuffle between Judah Mintz and Doug Eddert, so I'll actually play the video of the fight now. So, as you can see here, there's 7 minutes left in the first half, and Judah Mintz goes to drive in, and here you see him get fouled by a Bryant player. So, this player is going to go down. So, it's an and one, so this is going to end up being a make by Judah. So at this point, Judah's leg is caught up right here by this Bryant player. I don't know his name, but you can see Doug Eddert right here, number 25. He is going to push Judah, and Judah's like, "What are you doing?" Like, literally just be like,
Mhm.
"What are you doing?" Like, he
Yeah,
doesn't understand what just happened.
he's
He's
trying
just
to
trying to
move.
move his leg. He's just trying to move his leg out of there. He's not trying to cause anything. And then here we see Judah walk by and slap Doug right in the face. And then Doug goes and retaliates and hits him in the side of the head. Now, at this point, John Bull, a jock, is going to try to fight everybody, which I don't blame him. He's trying to stand up for his boy. And Doug is just going to run away because he's scared. Now, at this point, you see number 3, the one who committed the foul, and also this gentleman with a headband on. They're going to try to stir stuff up with Bull. At this point, Judah's not into any of it, and Bryant's whole bench basically ran out onto the floor. And as you see,
Yeah,
none of Syracuse's guys did, only the coaches to try to break it up. So you can
exactly.
see Bryant's trying to get very rowdy after Syracuse literally did nothing. Like, we didn't have any guys come out. Here you can see a slow motion replay of it. You can see Eddert starting it, and then Judah, bam, right across the face. And then Eddert, bam, again. At this point, Judah's like,
And
I'm not
yeah,
doing with this. And then
and
you can see Bull chasing him, and Eddert literally runs away because he's
mhm.
too scared.
Yeah, and I think after Doug hit Judah in the head too, it looked like he shoved him as well. So
Yes.
he literally ended up shoving Judah, then Judah slapped him, and then Doug slapped Judah in the back of the head and then shoved him again. So like Judah hit him once, but he shoved him twice and hit him once. Like there's
It's very
definitely
hard to see
more.
everything with this
Yeah,
replay. I mean, a lot happened in such a little amount of time.
yeah,
But here you can see Jim Boeheim talking to the refs, and here you can see the Bryant players being very disrespectful to their peers by taking off
very.
their jerseys as they exit the stadium, which is very rude and honestly is terrible. I mean, we should not have to deal with that. Like, we should not have
It's
to deal with
rude.
their guys taking off their jerseys and like that. All 3 of the ejected players did. Like, that's very rude and unprofessional and very
Yeah,
disrespectful to the peers. I mean, we didn't see
I
any of
felt
our
so.
guys taking off our shirts and hyping up the crowd like that. Like, that's very
Mhm.
disrespectful. Like, I honestly hope Syracuse doesn't play Bryant again because they're trailer trash team and they act like it and their fans support everything when literally they were in the wrong because their team started it.
Exactly. And there was way more aggression seen from the Bryant team just in, what happened between Doug and Jugoto. But, the bench coming off, all the guys on Syracuse were sitting on the bench. I'm sure, they were standing up looking, seeing, what's happening. But they didn't storm across the field and start, getting physical with the other team.
Exactly.
They
The
were a
only
lot more
people that were
professional.
involved were on the court at the time they were in
Yeah,
the game. And the
exactly.
only people that actually went onto the court is Syracuse coaches to break it up, which is totally understandable and what
Absolutely
normally
makes sense.
happens. Like, it's normal for the coaches to go onto the court when that's happening, but like, it just shows that Brian is not professional whatsoever because they all their players were on the court when literally none of our guys were, only the guys that were in the actual game at the time.
Yeah, so because of that fight, a lot of players were ejected from the game, and they happened to be both teams' best players. So Syracuse, Judah Mintz got ejected, which was very unfortunate. on Bryant, Doug Eder, and then a couple other players. I'm not
Two
sure of
other
their
players,
names.
and then I think three assistant coaches as well. I think from Bryant, I'm not entirely sure,
Mhm.
but in total there were 4 player ejections and 3 coach ejections
Yep.
total.
So focusing kind of on Syracuse, Judah was ejected, which sucks because he's the best player on
He's
the team.
he's the best player, and he's been showing it, and he's been carrying the team like offensively and defensively. Like he's
Exactly.
been playing well, even though he didn't play well like the second half of the St. John's game. He still played well overall this season. And Boeheim's saying like, yeah, Judah's our best player and everything, but
Hmm.
even in the 9 minutes that he played, he still had 7 points and 1 assist in
Exactly.
9 minutes, which is really good for 9 minutes. And honestly, like it just still shows that Judah is the real deal. And in 9 minutes, he had more points than Joe Girard, and Joe Girard played 36 minutes. Joe Girard ended the game with 5 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. So in just 2 games, he's played, I think, about 75 minutes the past two
Hmm.
games, something along those lines. But in those minutes, he's had 9 points total.
It's just crazy the inconsistency with Joe. I mean, he's a senior this year. He can be
He's the
so
captain of
good.
the team, too. He's
Exactly.
literally the
He should be
captain of the
leading.
team.
And like that, even when Joe was a freshman, he's expected to be really good, kind of like some of the guys we have, but he'll play so good. Like, he broke his record with 31 points. Then he gets 4 points. Then he gets 5 points. And it's like, you're getting all this playing time. We need you to lead the team. We need you to score. We need you to get threes because I'm not going to expect centers to shoot threes, obviously.
Exactly.
It's just his
Like,
inconsistency, it screws the team.
it's just crazy. Like, he's always out there, which, like, yeah, he's a good leader and everything, but we need guys out there that can do something like that. When Symir Torrance was in the game, he played amazing. He played 20 minutes and he had 7 points, 3 assists, and
Uh-huh.
3 rebounds. Like, for Cy Boogie, that's really good. Like, I'm very proud of him. He played very well
Exactly.
under the
And
circumstances
yeah.
that Syracuse had.
And he handles the ball so well, like bringing the ball up, just his dribble moves and stuff. He just is really good at bringing the ball up and stuff. And I'd say for that position, he's better than Joe, but we've been seeing Judah do that position, correct?
Yeah,
So
Judah's been the point guard, but
yeah.
like Emo was saying, Symir is a better point guard than Joe. I think Joe just needs to be the two at this
Hmm.
point. Just shooting guard. He can't be bringing up the ball because he's a good dribbler and all that, but we have better guys like Judah and
Hmm.
Symir that can bring up the ball. And like that,
Yep.
Symir, he can drive past everybody and run past everybody and just go to the hoop and get it easy too. Like it's what they need. But
Exactly.
one thing that we noticed was Monir Hema was not entered into the game once yesterday after coming off of
Yeah.
7 blocks against St. John's. And this is just a report. We don't know for sure. There's not really any articles about it, but it's reported that he is injured, that Hema is injured. So either in practice or warm ups or something, he sustained an injury. So that's why he
Yeah.
didn't see any playing time yesterday.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate too because I mean, defense was needed to be played on these Bryant guys. Like a big guy like Monier being able to block shots and like really get up on the guys, especially with Jesse. I mean, he ended up following out. Like we need big, tall guys to just play the defense.
I mean, when we had like the tall guys we had played good, like John Boljack, he did really well defensively. Not really offensive type of player, but defensively very well. He ended up playing 27 minutes, which is great for him. Like I'm so
Yeah.
proud of him. Like I'm happy for him. He ended up having 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 points. So he was mainly in there for defense, and it showed like he was playing very good defense. And like that, Peter Carey, freshman, he ended up playing 9 minutes. He got 2 rebounds, but still defensively, he was a big key.
Yeah, I definitely thought he played pretty well, to be honest. And like that, because of the ejections and the injuries, you saw a lot of Syracuse guys that normally wouldn't play for a lot of time. So that was interesting. And Benny Williams ended up playing for about 9 minutes in the first half, but we heard that he was throwing up before the game, so that he was sick, so he couldn't really play much. which again was kind of unfortunate because, you know, Benny is tall and he's great on defense. He's a decent scorer. So having him in more could have helped the team, but I understand if he's sick, like there's really nothing you can do about that.
Exactly. He played 9 minutes total. I think he started like the first half, and then he like got in the second half and played like 2 minutes, and then like got subbed out for the rest of the game, which was kind of weird. But then we figured out like, oh, he's sick. Like we heard another report of that, which was very unfortunate. We hope Benny gets better soon. We hope he's feeling better and that he can be back out there for us because he's definitely a key player for us. But a key player for the Bryant game for us, Justin Taylor, the freshman.
Wow.
I mean, what a game for the kid.
He played fantastic.
He played awesome. 26
he had to
points.
Have been the MVP.
I'm sorry, 25 points, 26 minutes, and 3 rebounds. I mean, the kid was looking like Buddy Boeheim out there, and he's a freshman.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. He was spotting up from 3 and just drilling them. He'd get fouled, and he'd have 2 free throws, and he'd just go and drill them both. Like, amazing game for the kid. I'm so happy for him that he was able to step up for us.
Yeah, kind of. We were down, I think at one point we were down like 13 points in the second half. But, you know, he was shooting some good threes a couple times there. He got like 2 in a row. I mean, that really just helped Syracuse kind of come back. So it was, you know, more of a closer game. But he played great, especially being a freshman. I mean,
exactly.
You know, if he keeps playing like this and, you know, getting better, I mean, he's a fantastic asset to the team. It was great.
He's got to be playing more. Jim, you got to put him in more, man.
Yeah.
You got to put him in more. I mean, you look what he did this game. I mean, keep playing him. But going back to the defensive side of things, Jesse Edwards, oh my God, crazy game, double-double. Wow. I mean, 21 rebounds for him. I mean, he ended up fouling out, but still 21 boards, and he ended up having 12 points and 2 assists. Like, 21 rebounds for a kid, are you kidding me? Like, that's awesome.
That's insane.
I mean, great game for him. Unfortunately, he did foul out, like I said, but while he was in, he was a big factor. I mean, Bryant really couldn't stop him. They either would let him score or he'd get hacked and go to the free throw line. So, I mean, you really can't do anything, and it shows when a kid has 21 rebounds.
Yeah. Now, Chris Bell seemed to play all right offensively. He ended up having 14 points, 1 rebound. He did miss a few shots in the beginning, but towards the end, he made more shots, definitely.
He definitely turned it up in the second half.
Yeah,
the second half definitely turned him up. I think he stopped shooting threes in the second half. Mm-hmm. Like, he shot a couple, I think, but mainly he was like, he looked like Kobe out there. Like, he was hitting those fadeaways and those little mid-range shots. Like, he was looking good from the mid-range. I mean, if he keeps that up, like the mid-range, nobody can stop him from the mid-range because he's so tall.
Exactly. Yes, like that. He was the second top scorer in the game for Syracuse with 14 points. Then we had Justin Taylor. I mean, these are freshmen putting up big numbers for Syracuse scoring-wise. You know, if they can keep that up and play like that every game, I mean, that's just awesome to see.
And like that, what if, like, I'm just thinking, what if Judo was in the game? Like, what if he never got ejected? Like, he had 7 points in 9 minutes. Like, who knows? He could have had 30 in 25 minutes or whatever. Like, if he was still in, he would have had a monster game. But unfortunately, Syracuse ended up losing by 1. I mean, crazy game. The whole fight scenario really just brought out, like, everybody wanted to win so bad. It was just such a hype game, and it ended up coming down to the wire. So what happened was, now Emal, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I have this right. But Bryant ended up having 2 free throws. They were down by 1 point, and they had 2 free throws. They made them both, and then they were – wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm confusing things. I'm sorry. What happened was
there were so many free throws.
It was such a crazy game. It's like hard to remember certain stuff. But what happened was it was 72-71 Syracuse lead with like 10 seconds left, and Bryant went down. It was Bryant ball. They went down and they shot like a shot from the free throw line, like a mid-range free throw shot. I swear, this ball screwed Syracuse. The ball was like, nope, I want Bryant to win, because it hit the top of the rim, so like the flat part on the rim on the back. It hit the back of that and just bounced for like a second and then went in. So Syracuse had 0.8 seconds to do something. So we literally had to inbound it and like chuck it all the way down the court, which ended up being unsuccessful. But I mean, you can't really expect them to have that be a possibility, like have that be a score when you have to go all the way down. You have to literally chuck it, football pass, chuck it all the way down the court. You have to catch it and shoot it in 0.8 seconds. I mean, that's really unrealistic. It's just that ball bouncing just really screwed Syracuse. I mean, if the ball didn't bounce, Syracuse would have won that game.
Yeah, if we had a couple more seconds, the outcome could have been a lot different, but it was still a really good game to watch. It was a nail biter.
Very entertaining.
Very intense, yeah. But I'm still personally really proud of how Syracuse played, but that they did end up kind of coming back towards the end. And like that, we saw players that I personally didn't expect, like Justin Taylor, to really step it up. You know, it was a great game for him personally, but overall, I think Syracuse played pretty well.
Exactly. Especially under the circumstances. Like
Exactly,
that, they were down 40-29 at halftime, and to lose by 1, like, I'm still very proud of the guys. Like, I'm not, like, obviously they're upset about the loss, but, like, I'm not upset about it. Like, they played so well. Like, I'm glad that they battled and still tried to the end, but stuff like this happens in sports. I mean, that's how it goes, but overall, still very proud of the guys. They played very well.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, well, I think this is going to wrap it up for this episode of the podcast. This is just a surprise episode, you know, little game recap. Episode going out Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. I don't know what the date is. Is it the 4th, maybe? Let me check. 4th, I think.
The 3rd.
Yep, you're right. Yep, the 3rd. The 3rd. So, episode going up the 3rd. We'll have a guest for that episode.
Very exciting.
Who it is. You can stay tuned for that. If you have any suggestions for us, leave them in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. And we're out. Vibe with the 315. Peace.